I start this by saying, where have I been and where am I going? This is mainly a video to update where I've been, one of those usual things I do every 7 years to let you know that I'm still alive, still trying to thrive, and here's where we are today. So let's do an update on what's going on. At the start of the year, I pushed myself forwards for an ADHD test. Sorry, no, let's go back. Hi, by the way, I'm Lauren. Pleased to meet you. This is my main personal channel, which going forwards will be personal life, voice acting, and I think everything in between on that. This is going to be that channel. I'm putting my gaming stuff and hobbies on another channel, which is the Zephiora channel. So I'm trying to like separate things and like organize them coherently so I can actually like work them out. If it's the first time you've ever seen me, hello. I think the best videos I've ever done on this entire channel that I never intended to do well was when I experienced or spoke about experiences with depression, antidepressants, and what I'd been on, throughout my entire life. I think I've had this channel for a very long time now. So I think I'm going to start it again by doing kind of experiences that I've had, experiences going forwards, and I've not actually sat down in front of a camera and probably recorded for about, I don't know, probably a year for a video. I don't know. Anyway, there's gonna be a lot of noise in this, a lot of bokeh that's not working in the background, but it is what it is. Here's currently my new setup. This is my room now. This is how it is. And yeah, so let's start. So 3 years ago, I put myself forwards for ADHD. It took a very long time. And when I rung up at the start or the end of last year, I was told that the kind of intake form that I was on and the service I was on was basically stopping, and I'd have to restart the entire process again. This is when I went for a right to choose and pushed myself forwards for the ADHD. So it's when basically the NHS had shut down the service that was being used for ADHD and autism because there'd been a huge uptake from the pandemic onwards. People were starting to sit down and going, I think there's something wrong with me and stuff like that. So people were starting to get things checked out. And like, that's very, very normal, very, very natural. When there's more information about something, more people want to all relate to said thing and want to find out if they have it too. So at the start of January, I pushed for right to choose, which makes them basically the NHS push you into the direction of a private practice that can basically take care of you in terms of ADHD and stuff. So I finally got, I did my assessments all again, lots and lots of paperwork. But the idea is like, I just kept pushing and pushing to get seen, basically, because it's very, very easy and very, very okay-ish to just like go, okay, I've not heard from them, so I'm just going to give up and I'm not going to restart this again. But I restarted it again and just kept trying to push through for the steps. I finally got seen. The assessment came back very high, like the original one, in terms of like symptoms and stuff I was presenting. Finally sat down with psychiatrist. The assessment I think was 2 hours. It went through my entire life. My mother was there as well, because you need to have someone that's been there with you. You don't always have to have this, but it's good to have someone that's known what the pregnancy was like, how you were growing up from a very young age to where you are now and so forth. So about a couple of months ago, I finally got the assessment back. They told me in the assessment as well that I show signs, very high signs of ADHD. I have inattentive ADHD, but also I was showing many signs of autism as well. So now I'm also having to go from the very beginning with that, because the process for autism is a separate assessment, separate things. I have to now push forwards for that again, and I need to also message them this week and see where that is, because I've not heard anything. The next steps in having ADHD is you can put yourself forwards for medication. Some people choose not to, because if they've lived their entire life with ADHD, they're like, well, I've lived my entire life now, like, it's good to know, but I just want to carry on. That's completely fine. If you want to go the other route is having a medical initiation. So initiation, where they kind of will sit you down and find out what medication would work best for you and so forth. So I have chosen to go down that route to see if medication will be good for me. In the last 3 weeks, received kind of an assessment about my heart condition, because the medication that you're going to be on, or the ones they might choose, will be a stimulant. So they need to make sure there's not a history of heart conditions, heart defects, things that may cause the medication to give you problems with the heart and cardiovascular health. I've filled all those out. So at this stage, I think I'm literally waiting for the medical initiation and the titration. So all in all, the whole process has taken 3 years. The waiting list was 4 to 7, so I think we're doing good. But it's been nice to finally know what I have. All these years I haven't known at all. I've been like, oh, maybe I'm just quirky and a Scorpio, and it just turns out that's not the case. I was just a very high functioning person with ADHD that was very much masking it a lot of the time, and because of life circumstances and the amount of trauma things that I've been through, I was just high functioning to get through those. So like it was masking a lot of the things underneath. Now my life is a lot calmer. The ADHD is like rising above, because it's now like, hey, you're not motivated by stress all the time now. You're in a healthy relationship, so now we don't really have any dopamine for you to chase. So that's the issue that's happened. It's not a bad issue to have. Like, if you're in a healthy relationship, that's fantastic. But now it's like, hey, you need to focus on what you can do going forwards. So, yeah, that's where I currently am. I'm currently waiting for the medical assessment, titration, seeing how that goes. They have to also make sure the dosage is okay, so there will be several different kind of, they said like it might be good the first time with the dose and it might be great. Some doses might make you like awake for loads and loads of hours and stuff. So I've heard from loads of people, they lose appetite and stuff, or they get so focused, they've had a checklist for like years and years and years, and they just go through everything in like 3 months, but they don't eat. So like there's ups and downs. And I think going forwards, I can also tell you that in the midst of this, before getting the full diagnosis, I was writing a book in the background, how to deal with ADHD. And now I can fully go forwards with it because I do have ADHD, because I felt if I did not have ADHD, I couldn't publish a book on that or be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with and stuff. It just would feel very kind of, I don't know, weird and stuff like that. So I'm working on a book currently amongst 700 things I really want to get out this year. I wrote it, I think it was last year when I was in Ireland. I came up with the idea. I was having a breakdown. It was really fun. The inspiration from for the book is I was having a breakdown. I had pastry flakes all over me. It was very, very windy. I just got a coffee, but like the coffee and the almond croissant just like fused everything together, and I just looked erratic. And in that moment, I was like, you know what? I've got an idea for a book. And so that's where it came from. So that's what I'm doing. So going forwards with the channel, I want to put it in the direction, because it did the best when it was always personal experiences. My podcast, Voices from the Attic, when I spoke about true crime, mythological stuff and everything in between. I just want to stay true to myself and consistent in things. I want to give you content that you're watching, because you might find this very, very boring, and that's completely okay. But some people might find it interesting still. I think I've had this channel since I was like 19. I don't know. A very, very long time. A very long time with this channel. So the future is very hopeful. I still do get comments on my antidepressant videos, and I appreciate everyone that has shared their experiences on those. It's so nice to see like other people going through the same thing and also like feeling the same thing. I'm very thankful that I did get asked questions recently, am I still on antidepressants? No, I've not been on antidepressants for about 3 years now, 2.5 years. And if you're on antidepressants, and you have ADHD, Prozac specifically can affect ADHD and also worsen your symptoms for ADHD. So those can actually aggravate each other. So I think it's good that I'm off of that, so I can not be as aggravated with what I have. So it's different for everyone. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. I kind of saw antidepressants at the time. They were very helpful at the time. But it was very situational, and I've always looked at it as like, it's like putting a band-aid on a hard situation, so you can kind of get through that situation at a time and kind of come back from it, but then like learning to kind of be able to come off of them once the situation has passed, or like working on yourself at the same time. So you definitely, in the moment and stuff, when everything is way too much, it's a fantastic tool. But I've always been like, I wouldn't want to be on them for the rest of my life. I would want to tackle what's underneath the symptoms, what's underneath the root cause of everything, and then just go from there. It may be terrifying, it may be scary, but like, it's part of like learning to be able to cope with those things. And again, like antidepressants, they take off the edge, so you can be able to work through that in a better state and stuff, and then slowly kind of be able to confront that. A lot of my depression came from weight changes, stuff that happened in life, losing my partner at a very young age, going through several abusive relationships, just a pile of stuff really. But like sitting down with myself and saying, right, this is what's happened to me. What can I do going forwards? Like, what I can either sit with this and make this my arc for the rest of my life and be like, oh, I'm such a victim and stuff, or I can either sit with it and become it and stay that kind of victim, stay hurt and like not recover, or I can confront it and say, I have so many years left to live, hopefully. Do I want to be miserable and stuck in the same mindset I was in 10 years ago or 15 years ago? Or do I want to kind of like move on from that? And I came to the choice and decision that I want to move on from that, because I felt like, looking back on those years, especially with the loss through, losing my partner so young, that took 10 years of my life. Grief, trying to survive, trying to just cope with things, bereavement survivors, guilt and stuff like that. It took like a decade of my life. And not only that, it took from 17 onwards, like up to 27, 28, I was still having panic attacks, like things like that. Like, it's taken and robbed so much of my teenagehood. And I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be continuously reminded of it. It was a terrible thing. It was very traumatic. But at the end of the day, the person made the choice to do that and end their life. That doesn't mean my life needs to end as well because that happened. And I think that's what I come always back to. They chose to stop living. I can't stop living either too. I can't be a ghost alongside them. I need to just go forwards, get back to what I was before then, which is very, very hard when you're in a very young mindset and you're like, how do I rebuild myself? What was I before this? But I think I'm very, very close to where I was before when I was younger, with positivity and like how I was, and a lot more lighter, because it did add a lot of darkness in my life. This has been a very long rant. I will do some cuts in between this, so it will probably be smoother, and you probably didn't want to hear about all these stories and stuff, but here they are. So if you think you have autism or ADHD, do push forwards for it. I know it's very irritating. I know it's a long wait, but it's good to get yourself on the list and progressively put yourself forwards, because you deserve to do that for yourself. You deserve to get as much care as you can and as much support as you can for ADHD and autism. Like, if they knew when I was younger, I would have had a lot more, feel like I would have had more support at school. I know there was people that already had ADHD at that time and they had more time in exams, or they were put in different environments to make the exams better. I was terrible at exams. I did loads and loads of revision, but when it got to sitting down in that cold hall, I just froze up and I just did not do well. I would do great in like a different environment. So it's things like that. Also having those, I don't know if I'm fully have autism right now, but I have recognizing the overstimulations with so many things now, with sound, with light, with fabrics, and getting to the point that your mind is kind of having like a shutdown. You need to sit down and just decompress. I didn't do that before. I was like, oh, I'm just being lazy. I'm just being weak. I need to keep pushing forwards. I don't care if I'm tired socially. I'll go to another gathering. I'll go to another party. I'll see more and more people. This will just recharge itself. That was the mindset I was in, which was not healthy at all. So that's for the ADHD, autism. For survivor's guilt and dealing with the loss of a loved one, give as much time as you need to grieve. But at some point, you have to decide for yourself if you want to keep living in that memory and stay there or move forwards. You can still think about them, you can still love them very much, that never ever goes, but they wouldn't want you to be a hollow person once it's happened. And for yourself, you owe yourself more than just being stuck since the event or the trauma or the loss. And I think that's it really. I think that's where we're at. And then, as I said, going forwards, this channel will have, so I'll be posting personal stuff. I do a lot of lifestyle shorts down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed whatever I was just talking about, life experiences. My voices from the attic will be starting up next week. I've got so many subjects to talk about. I've seen so many things. I'm like, I need to speak about that. So that's like a true crime, everything kind of thing. And yeah, there'll be PCOS tips on here as well. I'm going to talk about my tooth extraction because it's crazy. I need to speak all about that. I've done some shorts on it, but the experience itself was insane. Root canal that was infected with an abscess is now recovering, but oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm going to talk about all that here. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I can't wait to check the audio levels on this and see everything completely out of sync. So that's going to be really fun. As always, hello, I'm Lauren. Feel free to subscribe or like this video, or leave a comment on any of your experiences. Like, this is an open conversation. This is for you to just kind of reply with your experiences, what you've gone through, things you didn't like about this, things you did like about this, just stuff like that. I want to have a conversation with all these videos and see what you've been through, what's going on with you. And as always, have a great day.